Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. We wanted to film a video we didn't anticipate, I definitely didn't anticipate going as big as it did, was the AromaPro by AromaTech. All of the videos we've done around that. So we basically wanted to do like a 3-4 year post initial install follow-up, answer all your FAQs, and then also do sort of like, what would you call it, like the prep that we didn't show? Mm-hmm. And just kind of address some of the things that we've kind of heard over time. And then I've sent him a bunch of the comments that I've gotten over time so he can help weigh in and address this stuff, because I answer what I can, like this is really his forte. So let's get to it.
So the first thing you got to do when you're figuring out how to do one of these installs is we have to figure out the airflow of our HVAC. So basically what happens is you're gonna have an area in your house that's probably gonna look something like this. So if you look, we have these guys here that in our case, we need to dust. Vacuum. And you should dust those. This typically, when you see these little latches here, if you pop these, you typically have a furnace filter there. And in our case, our filter is actually in a different spot, but you'll have things like this. And so this is basically where air enters the HVAC system. And so the way we're gonna see this from here, there's gonna be a set of ducts that are gonna go to the HVAC system. So typically you'll have a set of ducts. They're gonna come in on something like this, and they go to one side of your HVAC system. So it's good for you to know when you're up in your attic, you know, about where this entrance is going to be. Because what we'll do is when we get up, we're going to trace this and find it. Another way, if this is kind of hard to see in the attic, is you're going to have kind of things like an octopus of ducts coming out of the HVAC system, because you have vents everywhere. So what we need to do is we've got to find the inlet that's going to have a limited number of ducts coming to it, and that's where the air enters the HVAC unit. All right, so now because we love y'all, we have climbed into an attic in Texas in June. So you'll see I'm a chubby white guy. I am going to sweat, and it's going to kick in. But this is what we were looking at downstairs from the top down. So this is our intake. And so as we look at this, you follow this over here, we notice this comes in here and goes underneath. But then we've also run into this octopus. You see all of these lines coming out. This is a great way to understand. You'll have a big one that provides air, and then you're going to have a bunch of these small ones. And if we trace these go to different vents. You see, we come from this box, which has a ton of different vents coming out of it, and then goes to the wall. So that's what one of your vents are going to look like. So now, when we set up the AromaPro, it's very important that we understand the airflow. So looking at this, we have the big one coming behind, and if you look back there, it comes back and it enters into this box. So this box is the inlet. So our airflow goes from right to left. So air enters here. We were talking about filters for our HVAC system. This is our filter. So it's kind of a pain in the ass that I have to climb up here and change this, but it is what it is. And so this is our heat pump. It's going to be the exact same thing if you have any type of forced air. And so basically what's happened is we have air come in, air gets conditioned. In this case, the air conditioning's on, so it's being cooled, and then air exits. So this is where the air comes out, and this is where we inject the AromaPro. So this is our AromaPro. And so what we have it doing is it's coming out of the AromaPro, and then it's going into this junction. So air gets forced this way, picks up scent here, goes out through all of these vents, and gets distributed through the house. This is how you select where to do the install. You want the AromaPro to be after your HVAC system. We don't want to be putting our scent into the system itself. So it's after the system. And so then now this will run, it kicks off every few minutes. And then if it's not running, it'll just, the scent will just kind of sit here. Then your HVAC system kicks on, it gets distributed throughout the house. An important thing you'll notice is the angle that we have right here. The AromaPro, their instructions, they want this to be as close to vertical as possible, and they don't want any dips, like dipping down, because what'll happen is the scent will condense in that dip. It'll cause problems over time. So what you have to do is make sure that this is at most of an angle like this. Now we're in Texas, and places like Arizona, you're going to have HVAC systems like this that are laid down and are pretty close to the ground. So if let's say this one's 6 inches off the ground or a foot, some of them will be literally on the rafters. So what you could do there is pick a little bit higher spot. Part of using your AromaPro, you need to replace your scents. Now I'll tell you one of the things that I did that I think makes my life a bit easier. I got a container for each scent. And in our house, we tend to go with 2 different scents. Sarah really likes Santal and Winter Pine. Winter Pine is our Christmas holiday scent. I just ordered extra ones of these, and then I will fill this and just swap in and swap out. They have a cleaning fluid, and I have one more container for that. And basically every couple months, you'll just run that through. It's just like this fluid change that I'm going to show you. You get some 70% rubbing alcohol, put it in one of these containers, turn this guy on, have it run it through, and then switch back to your scent. To do a scent change, I will tell you, I normally wear gloves. It's not that anything here is toxic. It's just, I haven't figured out a way for me to do this without getting something on my fingers. And then my fingers smell like whatever the scent is for probably a day. And I'm weird and I don't like things on my hands, but I also don't like wearing gloves. So the thing that is Jeremy. So in this case, what I do is you can just unplug. Let's spin this guy to the side. Now make sure you're keeping track of your tube. I don't want to be yanking on this. So I just spin it in a way I can get to it. You have a little panel here that's held on with magnets. So put that to the side. So we come in here and then we just twist it off. I will tell you that this feels so much easier to get out than it does to get in, because we're gonna do this and this guy's gonna be pretty low. So, I mean, the one thing I will say to AromaPro, if you're listening, why are these so tall? Like this door should be a hair lower, or this container should just be just a hair shorter, because what happens is it actually ends up being kind of hard to get this thing back in once we fill it. So we grab some Santal.
We've been asked about using I've gotten a couple of comments over the years about using other fragrances. We've never done that. So I can't speak at all to like other brands or blends or whatever.
I just pour it in. Now this guy had a little bit in it, so I don't think we'll be able to get all of this. And the other problem is I would say don't take it all the way to the edge, because now I've got fluid in here and I've got to do stuff like this. So you want to make sure you get it as full as you can, but you want to be able to go this far without spilling. So we come in here, we put this guy, you have this little tube, we put this little tube in, and then we kind of get in here. And so this is the part, I will tell you, every time I do this, I always struggle with this, is getting it over this little hump. Okay, so you get it over the hump. And basically what I did is I took this and I'm kind of pushing it into the hole, but it's not gonna align. But then you get it in here. Now you can pull it up and then gently rotate it in. Now you're not, guys, if you're doing this, this isn't like putting a oil filter on a car. You're not trying to get this thing in here with all your might. Just get it in and just kind of give it just a little bit of a snug, and then that's it. We take our access panel, we put it back on. It's held in with magnets, and I will tell you that, I gotta be honest, I don't even leave that on, but we'll do it for show. So now we're done. We've gone ahead and we have refilled this thing, and we're ready to plug back in. Noticed it does a pretty good, a decent job about keeping track of time.
That's not what time it is. It's 12:25 right now.
All right, it's 12:25. Okay.
A question we get asked a lot is, how often do we change this?
I would say maybe every month and a half to 2 months.
Okay.
I mean, I think that seems fair.
So it's like a 5 to 10 minute task.
Yeah.
Depending on like how hard it is for you to access your HVAC.
Yep. We'll link to the other install video.
The one at this house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When we did we have another video of doing a full install, and funny enough, we didn't use this attic, which is massive. The other attic's kind of constrained. This attic doesn't have a ladder. And so like I have to put a ladder in our closet, climb up, get up here to do all of that stuff. And so it does take some effort. So if you've got other maintenance you could do up here, I would look at just aligning it and heading down that path. How much sense you use is directly correlated to the settings that you use on the machine. And it'll take a little bit of time to dial that in. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, the first time we used it,
you could taste it.
I could literally taste it. And
it was way too high. There's 20 settings on this. There's a range of like, was it 1 to 20? You have tons and tons and tons of range. Mm-hmm. So don't let that like intimidate you or freak you out.
Yeah, so we can come in here. If you press the set button, power it on. And so right now we have it on setting 9. We'll pull up the manual. I don't remember exactly what that means, but they have a sliding scale in the manual that will tell you what these settings are. And then you can set it to run on different days and what start times to use. Yeah, I mean, think about this. This is a commercial product. Mm-hmm. So it's designed to be put in a spa. So you could literally, hey, my spa's not open on Mondays. Uh-huh. So you can shut it off. Mm-hmm. And that's basically all it takes to change the fluid. I think one thing I'd probably jump into is, if you're going to do this type of install, I'm a pretty hands-on person. So I'm one of the typical guys that enters into a project and then buys $800 worth of tools to do said project. So I've got tons of tools, and this is a forte for me. If things like getting in an attic or touching your HVAC system scares you, literally just call your HVAC company. And if you haven't had a tune-up where they come out and check out your stuff, just have them come out, check out your system, do a tune-up, and then at the same time, while they're at it, this install is not difficult at all. It's just more of, take your time. I'm going to drill a hole into one, basically where all the ducts are. I need to be careful, use the right size drill bit. If that type of stuff, worries you, don't do it.
Yeah.
Hire somebody.
I expect like doing a tune-up costs you $199 and probably an extra $50 to get this done. So it's not crazy expensive.
So now that we've done sort of the gap fill of the install, prep, whatever, let's talk through settings.
Okay. So we were talking just a second ago, we were talking about settings in the attic, and Sarah and I decided it's a lot nicer to talk about them down here because it's hot in the attic.
This is where the air is conditioned.
In June. And I'm up there dying, and if you watch, I slowly start glistening over the video. So you have different levels that the machine runs at, and so they go from a G1, which they call grade 1, which means the machine will run for 15 seconds. So let me put out scent for 15 seconds and then not run for 300 seconds. So that means every 5 minutes, kick out some scent for 15 seconds. And then that'll go all the way up to run for a grade 20. So you have 20 settings you can use, would be run for 300 seconds, shut off for 15 seconds.
So it goes from one extreme to the other.
Exactly. So we at the old house we've screwed up and ran that setting before, and it was
cut it.
It was a 3,500 square foot house, and you could taste.
Yeah. So a question we've had a few times. This is the second house that we've had with an AromaPro. Mm-hmm. And this house is about double that square footage of the old house. So but it's also built a little differently. Yeah. So the living room at the old house was a 2-story ceiling. It opened up all the way to the top, to the second floor. So we've had a couple of questions about how does the fragrance and the settings kind of impact, like do you notice it? Does it impact anything? We're kind of on the fence about that. And
I would say, so we originally bought this for that house. And that house, in Texas, it's pretty typical to have multiple HVAC units. So that house had an upstairs and a downstairs unit. I'm pretty sure we only installed it on the downstairs unit because that's where Sarah and I spent most of our time. Mm-hmm. Upstairs was a spare bedroom in the kids' rooms. Mm-hmm. So we only had one unit in that house. Mm-hmm. Now that we moved to this house has 3 HVAC units, and so we have it's kind of, think of like a big U, and so one side is one HVAC unit. That's where we just were. The other side is 2 HVAC units, which would be the lower part. So basically our master bedroom, the den, and our, what we call our lounge area, that is on one HVAC.
What's the den?
The den? My old office, that's called the den. So
okay.
Sarah's office that you're now seeing in a different video, that is on one HVAC. That was the HVAC we just
Our house is wide. Our current house is wide, so it's basically set up to where like one side of it is just 1 story, and that's that part. Yeah. And then
on the other side are our kitchen, living room, a spare bedroom. That is another unit. Mm-hmm. And then upstairs there's 2 bedrooms, the kids' rooms, and a weird room that's now my office. Is a storage closet with a window that only sees a tree. That's where
I love how he makes it sound like he's in like a dungeon. Yeah. He's in a giant room. It's fine.
So it's a really weird, like 60-foot long room.
Yeah, it's not to find this big.
But what I'm trying to say is that is on the 3rd HVAC system. So, the questions would be, would I have done things differently if for this house? I think I would have. At the time, we had planned. We weren't really planning on using the room, that long room, the way we're using it now. So now the upstairs doesn't have AromaPros, and I kind of wish it did. So if you look at the AromaPro systems, there's one that will work for basically one unit that will work for two air conditioning units. I would have gone that way. And if you look at our install video, the way that particular setup is done, we have two HVAC systems stacked on top of each other, and that could work. I mean, like literally the air handlers are this far apart. I would have gone with that particular
AromaPro system
unit.
is actually kind of perfect for how those two HVAC systems are set up.
Correct. And so, so basically we have an AromaPro on this side, AromaPro on that side, but only doing the downstairs.
Okay.
I would have slightly done that differently. We mainly, the kids don't notice the sense. So it's like, why would we do this? But now I'm upstairs, so I'm like, okay, this would have been nice. Yeah. So settings wise, what we run in this house is we're currently at a G9. It means run for 30 seconds and stop for 40 seconds. So that means
almost 50-50.
Yeah. So
but so then I guarantee the next question is for how many hours?
And I have that running for I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure waking hours. So I have it kick on at like 7 in the morning and kick off at like 9:30 or 10 at night.
So if that helps you understand how much we're going through in terms of like the bottle size, so I actually think that's a great, like when you think about that one bottle, that's pulling some weight. Mm-hmm. If it's pulling those kind of hours, that kind of frequency, that kind of space, that's not bad.
And so then I'll also kind of change things up. So if I change scents, so like when we go Christmas, I'll turn things up and I'll run it at a higher setting for an hour or two to try to get, hey, let's get this going. And then, back it back down because, you're overcoming a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, let's go over here. We have some questions about runtime.
Well, he's pulling up that. I will state, so we do a seasonal transition for the holidays, right? We have tons and tons of videos about this. I'm really into Christmas. And so we do that shift. And so with Santal, if you've never smelled anything Santal, it's a specific smell. I love it. It's my absolute favorite. There is when you're I've gotten a couple of questions about like, how do I know what scent to buy? I highly encourage you to get the kits, the little like sampler kits that they give you. And we sat down, this was years ago, we sat down and we just smelled every single one. So if either one of you or both of you are particular in different ways, which is the camp that we fall into, it was really helpful for the both of us to sit down and just eliminate. So it got down to like the only holiday one he liked was winter pine, and I was fine with that. So it's kind of nice. So if you're I only do it during the holidays, but if you're somebody who's like really seasonally driven or whatever, get those individual containers, but buy all the kits and just sit there and go through it. I think it's totally worth the time. They're not expensive. I highly recommend that.
Yeah, and I will tell you the reason we went to this system is Sarah really liked candles, and
I have a sensory disorder. The environment that I'm in, like the fragrance and the way it feels and all that tactile stuff, super, super important to me. So the fragrance of the home was a non-negotiable for me, and I was always doing it with candles.
And something that I don't like is open flames. So it's one of the spots is that this is what we came up with as a good solution.
Like 12 candles lit at every moment.
So there's a bunch of fake ass candles around this house. Those little LED ones, but
so you still get the ambiance, but you don't have the fire hazard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like fire.
No.
Couple questions so far is, how well does the HVAC setup work when the fan isn't running, or is there a way for the diffuser to run only when the HVAC fan kicks on? So there's no interconnectivity between the AromaPro and the HVAC system. So it just if your furnace will not turn on for an extended period of time, it's just kind of pumping it into the vents. and you'll end up getting the scent to come out when it does kick on, but I would say it's a little bit of a waste. So now what we do is most of your HVAC systems. So if you've got a Nest or a Ecobee, we have these really crappy thermostats that are super expensive for our Bryant Connex systems. Shout out to Bryant, they're horrible. But you can go in and you can change a setting so that they come on for X amount of time every hour. And so basically, don't run the heat or cool, but just run and circulate the fan.
Yeah.
And you could do that to help with the scent. And it's also probably a pretty good idea because then your filtration is also going to run as well.
Yeah.
Any concerns installing this product with a propane furnace or heat changer? So this house has heat pumps. So it's basically electric heat. Having a little bit different concern. It's basically electric heat with a propane backup. If it gets super cold, which we're Texas, so it tends to not use the propane side. Our last house was natural gas. I would say, offhand, I would say no, but I'd also tell you to reach out to AromaPro. If you have questions,
they're actually great.
They're pretty nice and pretty helpful. If you they'll ask you maybe a couple questions, and if the person in chat can't answer those, they're pretty knowledgeable. They'll get one of the technicians to give you a call, and they've answered all the questions for me. I would say you'd be okay. You just need to make sure, watch the video earlier. We were talking about how to select. It has to be on the right side. You do not want to feed the scent into your HVAC system. You want your HVAC system to blow the scent out. So you want it to be on the output side.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you don't feel comfortable, if you're not sure, call your HVAC people.
Yep. And y'all should be getting a yearly tune-up. Seriously.
PSA.
Maintenance. Yeah. Remember, if your car is making a loud noise, don't turn up the radio. Okay. All right. Do you think the scents would travel upwards if we were to put it on the main, that it'd travel through a 2-story family home up to the 2nd-story area?
Ish.
I would say ish.
Yeah, you get it probably to the landing of the top. Like you get it, depending on what your stairwell looks like and all that kind of stuff. We definitely had it. You can walk up the stairs, you'd still smell it. And then once there was like a wall, like a hall or whatever that would kind of buffer it, you would notice a decline.
So to kind of frame how that house was built, is it was 2 stories, but at the landing, you literally could look over the kitchen. You could see parts of the kitchen, and you could look over the living room. I would tell you no, but I think they have a unit I think it's like $1,500 that will do 2 units. So if you've got 2 units that are right on top of each other or within a close distance, I would say use that unit. That particular house, the units were separated by 5 feet and they were pretty low to the ground. So that unit was not an option for us, because remember, your scent tube cannot dip.
Yeah.
So in that case, it wouldn't have worked.
So take a look at what your HVAC system setup is, and then kind of let that help you dictate which direction you're going to go in when it comes to which specific Aroma Tech product you're buying. So
and then the other thing, like I said, reach out to them. Mm-hmm. So all of the units here in Texas, and I gotta be honest, I think it's a little weird that they didn't have this kind of outlined. In their instructions, it basically shows everything going straight up into the bottom of one of those duct systems, and like that being the way. Well, they're in Arizona. In Texas, so like the building and laying an HVAC unit is very similar. They're all like down on the rafters, and there's no way I could go from the bottom. So I took pictures of our HVAC at the last place, sent them over, and I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is how I'll do it. And their technician looked at them and told me, yeah, that would work just fine. So if you have questions, reach out to them. They are fair. We also have a two-story family room. It looks like you installed in the attic and the scent traveled down the main floor. Have you installed on the main floor and then you see travel, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's pretty much the same thing. All right. Okay, so are you guys still happy after a year from posting this video? And
well, now it's been over 3.
yeah, so this was 9 months ago. So yeah, I would say I don't really have any problems with the units. So we have 2 units. We have 2 AromaPros. We've had one problem with them. I had a pump failure in one, and so when you hear them, they'll make like a brrr noise, and that's how it's basically like a little air pump that pressurizes that tank and pushes the scent out. We had one of those fail. After like a year, they took care of that and they replaced it. That unit still happened to be under warranty. And then they told me the replacement cost, because I'm one of those types. All right, what's this going to cost? What's this going to cost? In another 3 months when it's out of warranty, because I have this thing where I assume that something is just going to break immediately after the warranty period. So they told me that pump is $120, and basically the process for me was I took that unit out, I shipped it to them, they fixed it, and they shipped it back, and they covered it for free. If we had to pay for it, it would have been $120 total. So I think I'm okay with that. Yeah. The only other thing that we have had, I'd say I wasn't the greatest on doing a cleaning cycle on these things. So basically every other fluid change, you should put 70% rubbing alcohol through them for a good few minutes.
They also sell a cleaning solution. You'll get you'll get, not random, they're actually scheduled. You'll get emails, hey, you're due for a clean. So if you we buy the oil, so we'll get like an auto kind of prompted email every 2 months or something, and it'll say that. Yeah,
and they sell this like little bottle of the stuff, and I'm kind of lazy and don't really want to like sit there holding this little bottle. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I just bought an extra one of the sink containers, and I put 70% rubbing alcohol that you get from anywhere, and it's that's recommended in the instructions, and that works really well. I can't say I didn't do that really well in the beginning. The little end of the I want to say that was a diffuser core is the part that got crusty, and we had a little bit of trouble with that unit. Hit them up. They replaced it under warranty for free. I bought some spares, and they were, I think at the time, $13 or $14 each. And to me, they came off like consumable items, and I'm the type that likes to have those like in stock, somewhere. So I went ahead and bought them, and beyond that, they've been pretty reliable.
Yeah, I think too, depending on what you want, like depending on how intense you want it to smell, if you want like every single room and like every corner of a room, every single room in the home, like the same degree of intensity, I don't think you're gonna get that. I think that's more of an airflow and that kind of stuff factor than it is the AromaPro itself. I think that's just like certain spots in your house are a little warmer, a little, you know what I mean? Like that drafty stuff like that. You got to pay attention to that. That's not the machine's fault.
Yeah.
But the way our house is set up, I definitely notice there's like almost like hot spots where it's like, oh, I can definitely notice it's working here. Or I definitely notice it less here. Mm-hmm. But that's just our home.
I can explain that. And the reason you feel that there's hot spots is we looked at that octopus of ducts. Some of those are closer and some of them are further away. And so what's going to end up happening is to really get down and try to figure that out, you probably need to play with your ducts and like, hey, let me close this vent off a little bit or restrict it a little bit so that it comes out even. It's not going to be possible for you to get it perfectly even. But the thing to keep in mind, this is just a better distribution system than putting one of these diffusers in every room with the exact same oil.
Yeah, because then you're Xing that maintenance by however many units you have.
Exactly. So basically the video you saw is all I do every, X amount of time. And it's like every 2 months. So usually, and that particular attic requires a ladder. So I just double it up when I'm doing other things.
Also, I think just a comment too on the happiness thing, especially if you're coming off of having candles or if you're somebody that does like the multiple diffusers or whatever your home fragrance system of choice is, the lack of daily touch. Like I am somebody who does a ton of stuff every single day. That's like that invisible labor, mental load kind of crap that you don't see, but I definitely do. It's one less thing. I don't have to go and light all the candles, then blow them all out or snuff them all out or do whatever I'm gonna do. And I've had those, I don't like the things that plug into your wall because those are like a major fire hazard, but we did have like a Pura or whatever it was for a while. That did not work at all for us. So like at all. So I actually gave them away to a neighbor. But so I think in the iterative process of finding the right fragrance system for the home, it's the simplest and the most effective while being the safest and the least hands-on.
Yeah. And for me, it's a lot better because I straight up, I did not like it that Sarah would have candles going in rooms she wasn't in.
Oh yeah, and I did it every day.
I did not like that at all.
Yeah, and every morning I'd walk around and he would just freak out. So
you gotta live in the country with one volunteer firefighter. No, I don't like this. So my perspective, I like it better. Okay. Thank you for reviewing. I'm considering purchasing this diffuser, but I'm concerned about the possible long-term consequences of the oils in the HVAC system. Haven't found any information online. Have you heard of any long-term problems, rusting, etc., due to this use, especially when using a heater humidifier? I haven't heard anything, and by what I can tell, I can't see anything with our system. And I've also, I do have people check up our system, and I haven't heard any complaints from them. And then I had the great pleasure of buying 2 brand new HVAC systems this year, so they checked out all of that stuff, and they didn't have any concerns about it either. So I'd say to each your own. I think it's smart of you to be cautious about something like this. HVAC systems are expensive.
Yeah.
And
when they go bust, it's never fun.
Hey, I was wondering if you or anyone knows if having an air purifier affects this product. For me, I have this thing in my living room, and our place is so small. I would have it at a higher intensity. Well, we don't have point, like your think like your desktop or your tabletop air purifiers. We have we have Bryant Carrier systems, and they have kind of a high infiltration option, and we have that. So we're not doing that at an individual level. I could see some of the ones that have. Some of the ones that have like some UV or things that'll like carbon filters that do smells, you probably would see a reduced smell in the direct area of it. Yeah, sure. You're just going to have to look through that, versus if you're doing it the way we're doing it, is we're basically taking, our input air is filtered and then handed over to the AromaPro.
Yeah.
So I'd say you probably would notice something. We have one here. How long does a scent take to work? Actually,
Pretty quick.
you'll notice it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So
I can tell when he changes it.
yeah, and so when I change scents, like I said, I always jack up the thing so it's doing a lot more. We have all of our even our shitty Bryant thermostats are Wi-Fi capable. So while I'm up there, I'll go through do the change, then fire off the furnace and have it run with the AromaPro, like sending a ton of stuff out, and then I back it down to normal. And I usually do that just to get like a good quick boost when I'm changing scents. So we go from Santal to Winter Pine. So like the first day, it'll smell like
Christmas.
yeah. Okay, question here is, do you have the HVAC fan running all the time or have it set to auto? I'm not sure if the fan needs to be running all the time. When I first set these things up, I had Ecobee thermostats, and they have a setting where you can say, run the fan at least this amount every hour. And I like that anyways because, it runs air through the filter. So I did that so that they run 10 minutes every hour. So I would look at doing a setting like that. If it's just running and the system never comes on, you're basically just going to get a large blast of scent when it finally does kick on.
Yeah. You're going to get like that accumulated like push. Yeah. So I could see that being an issue if you're trying to dial in your setting preference if you've got that as a factor, it would throw you off. Yeah.
So if you're just running the fan, that's not a significant electrical cost. All right. Are you still enjoying your Aromatech unit? I recently discovered, them, but I'm worried about taking the plunge to buy one. The reviews on their website are great, but on the BBB reviews are not so great. I think the other thing I'd tell you to do is go look at the Amazon reviews. The Amazon reviews are pretty solid.
Yeah.
I gotta be
BBB people tend to be a specific type of person.
Yeah, so they're either a little, I dropped this thing down a flight of stairs and they wouldn't give me a new one for free, or sometimes they could be completely right. But I will tell you that they every time I've interacted with them, they've been rational. They've done right by me, and so I have no real complaints at all with them. They've been very helpful. The people seem knowledgeable. If they can't answer the problem, they'll escalate it themselves and actually do it. Not like Comcast or one of those people who are like, yeah, we'll have somebody call you. Yeah, it's not one of those. So I'd say, to each your own. You could always do something like Amazon Prime. These are all available on Prime, and if you
can get
don't like it, you can
Sense
return
on
it.
Subscribe and Save.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that going for a while.
Hey guys, question. Any time when the machine is disconnected to power, do you have to program it again? No, it remembers, and it seems to do okay with time. So like if you unplug it for, like the thing where we just changed it out, if you unplug it and do the bottle change and put it back in, it seems to pick up and remember the time. So I've never had to redo the schedules. I'm pretty sure the schedules on these things are from our old house, including the move and not being set up here for a few days.
So the time, if you looked at the footage, it's 2 hours ago. But it's fine.
Yeah, I'd most likely set that up. We bought this house in August, and so then I didn't set things up closer till October, and then is that daylight savings time? November. Okay. So, all right. Does this machine work with an app or Wi-Fi? No. I completely wish it did.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
It's weird to me that irrigation can be on Wi-Fi, but this can't.
Yeah, so they don't have any type of smart connectivity options for it.
Which sucks when you think about I have to climb into the attic.
Yeah. So That's, I mean, I gotta be honest, that's also why when I go up there, I tend to take my cell phone with me. I fire things off. I'll call Sarah and be like, "Do you smell this?" And do stuff like that.
Yeah. Make it suck.
So yeah,
I guess that would be the one big con, is it's not that.
You know, but it's one of those spots where you got to look at it that this is a hair more of an industrial product. So I like the fact that like all of this stuff seems fairly reliable, and this seems to be more driven towards like an audience, like a spa or a hotel lobby, something along
Have you ever been
those
to like
lines.
Disney, where everything smells a specific way no matter where you go, or like Vegas?
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
Sarah completely understands now why I smell the way I do when I come back from Vegas.
Yeah.
It's because I stay at Aria.
Yeah.
And it has the
That thing
specific
smacks
scent.
you upside the head with that smell. Yeah, they got that shit on 20.
I think that's all of them.
Cool. So yeah, so hopefully this was definitely a much more intentionally planned video. We also realized, I feel like at some point my instinct was like, oh, they'll just come out with content, and they didn't. So
Yeah.
if you want to work with us, let me know, because I'm down.
It's a pretty straightforward install, and just take your time.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope we hope these answers answer y'all's questions, and if you have any more, please feel free to leave me a comment. I will happily ask him, and I will tell you what he says back. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a great day.